Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is a reading for Virgo moon signs, or if you have significant Virgo placements in your chart and are needing a feminine energy to work with or balance within yourself, then this reading is for you. So Virgo, let's get started with your reading. You have at the bottom of the deck the Master Maker, which is I was seeing this card before I got started for your reading, Virgo, which is why I'm wearing this hat, because I was seeing this card about this card talks about your craft or your skill or something that you're doing, perhaps in terms of work or perhaps just like a creative project or something like that. It talks about creating something and doing it very masterfully. But the reason why this hat was coming in is because so recently I picked up knitting and crochet. So I've been learning a new skill, if we want to call it like that. And so I knit this hat. This was the first thing that I completed for knitting. And this card talks about always trying to do better than your previous attempt, right? So if you look at this hat, there's a lot of mistakes with it because it was my the first project that I did. And so you can see the mistakes in it. I also know that if I were to do it again, it would be better. I also wasn't working with the best materials, that kind of thing. And it's coming through in this way, Virgo, because you have here the unsuccessful plans here with the knot. Maybe you're trying to work on something, or there's some sort of project that's it feels like there's a frustration tied to it, or something is not quite going according to plan is how that's coming through. So it could be something like that, or there's just maybe you're just being there's sort of an energy here of embracing the imperfection, right? It's not going to be perfect, especially if it's something that you're learning for the first time or something like that, like a new skill or something. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to have imperfection, but it's kind of learning from the mistakes. I feel like that's part of what the message is coming through with here. But at the bottom of the deck, you have, for the Muse tarot, you have the Lover's card. Sorry, this hat is itchy, so I might end up taking it off. But the Lover's card, which to me talks about meeting up with another energy, making a choice to meet at a certain point so that you can continue on a journey together. I feel like there's something here though with the first two cards coming out here for you, Virgo. You have here the Lady of the Harvest and the Dark Lady. So this is the crone energy in this deck, and the Dark Lady, she's been coming out so much in the last couple of readings whenever I use this deck, and it talks about after letting go, there's sort of this rest and a rest period is how this is coming through. So I feel like this is where you're at. I feel like here with the bright the Lady of the Harvest. I have to take this hat off. Sorry, it's too itchy. The point is just that there's something that perhaps you're letting go that maybe you wish you could have done a better job on, or something like that, or something like that. Maybe just leaving something unsuccessfully, right? It's kind of maybe there's something here that's you're leaving it undone, or not it's not quite feeling like that. It's you wish you could have done a better job on it, is how it's coming through. Like maybe you're looking at something that has been completed, right? Because you have these two things, right? You have these two cards, which are both about an ending, like seeing something that you've completed, but like seeing all the mistakes or it's kind of coming through like that, like seeing the mistakes or like looking back on like I could have done that better, or I could have like, you know, if whatever. It's kind of just like looking back on something. I do feel though that you are at like a really significant ending point with these two cards coming out together. Like it does feel like you're sort of in this resting period. It's coming out here with the desk, which says pay attention to your work. So it could be work related or just like something that you've been creating or working on. And the Dark Lady's coming out with the Forest, which says muddled, unclear thinking. Because it's kind of coming through as being like, with the Dark Lady, it talks about like moving through transition. And through that transition, there may be sort of like muddled or unclear thinking. The cards that are coming out to describe this energy here is the Four of Cups and the Seven of Cups. So this is why I'm saying, Virgo, that I feel like maybe you're focusing on sort of like an energy of like looking back on something that you've completed and feeling like I could have done that better, or like I made a lot of mistakes, or something like that. Because with the Four of Cups, this talks about like feeling unsatisfied with something, or like focusing on the wrong thing maybe. Or here with the Seven of Cups, this is the unclear thinking, right? It's kind of like feeling confused about something that you've completed, because it's kind of like these are all like things that you're noticing as the mistakes. Like I made that mistake, and like just like focusing in on that. I feel like that's sort of the phase that you're going through, Virgo, which it's not at all a bad thing. It's just don't get too caught up in that, is how it's coming through. But and I feel like you're not. I feel like it is going to shift, because after the Seven of Emotions, you have here the Four of Swords, which is this sort of like peaceful rest energy that comes with the Dark Lady. It's like after something is ended or after some sort of integration, it's like you move forward into this sort of peaceful energy. That's what I'm seeing here. And just like the direction of these, the light focuses, right? Where the light is focusing, because I feel like you may feel at the beginning sort of in this place of like looking at all the things that you could have done better, right? Into the sort of like peaceful acceptance. It's almost like these sort of quote unquote mistakes are turning into rose petals, which are almost just like perhaps it's just feeling kind of like peaceful, or like a peaceful acceptance of quote unquote mistakes that were made. I don't even want to use the word mistakes, because that has so much judgment attached to it. It feels more kind of just like you learned something. If there was a mistake made, you learned something about it, right? It's turning into like something that's like peaceful, or just like, okay, the next time I know how to do this better. Because what you have next, which is so incredible, you have here the Fairies of the Future, which actually does talk about this sort of like, in order to move forward, you need to look back at where you came from. So there's something here about like, there may be sort of like a looking back at the past, or something from the past, seeing all the mistakes, quote unquote, or like the things that you could have done better or whatever that is, and finding like peace or acceptance or integrating whatever the mistakes were in order to move forward into the next thing. Because what's coming out next here is that like you're moving forward, perhaps specifically in terms of like whatever it is that you just completed, you're moving into a new cycle of that. And it's sort of like being present is the guidance for this, because I feel like there's sort of like, it's been feeling sort of like, sort of like those moments when sort of like time feels like it's moving very slowly. Like when you're about to move into something new, or when you're like, when you're like about to go somewhere, right? Like say you have an appointment, or like you have like some sort of schedule that you're trying to meet. You have to be there at a certain time. The time right before that feels like it drags on because there's an anticipation of going towards that, right? So it's kind of like in this moment where time sort of slows down a little bit. The perception of it anyway, like the perception of time feels like it's going very slowly. It's almost like that's an opportunity for you to look back at the past and integrate the lessons that you learned. Because I feel like for you, Virgo, it's like there's, especially with the Master Maker here, it's like you're going to be continuing forward with whatever this thing is, but there's an opportunity here to improve upon the last thing that you just completed, whatever that is for you, right? It's like there's an opportunity to improve is what's coming through here. But what I love here, you have here the Star, which says guaranteed success, and the Fool card. So it's like you're moving forward with this energy of guaranteed success because you've integrated something from the past, or you learn from past mistakes, or like whatever this is. It feels like an incredible sort of like reclaiming of your energy in order to move forward with something with all of this success. Because I feel like this unsuccessful plan is sort of like something from the past that you perhaps had to let go because it wasn't going to be successful. Perhaps that might be the sort of dissatisfaction, is that like maybe there was something that you had to let go because it wasn't going to be successful, or perhaps that was the guidance or whatever. It's kind of like you're moving into something else that will be successful is how that's coming through. Because you have here next the Queen of Materials. The Queen of Materials, this card to me talks about like displaying your works with pride. Like there's something here about like I feel like, Virgo, you've actually accomplished a lot, even if you're perhaps looking back at something with sort of like a very detail oriented perception, like seeing things very sort of like I'm trying to find like the right word to describe this. Like just seeing like perhaps being overcritical of your own work is how it's coming through. Like in the in order to improve upon it, maybe. But I feel like this card here at the Queen of Materials is trying to emphasize to you, like, look at what you have accomplished so far. Like, look at how far you've come. I feel like you're at this stage here, actually at the queen stage, where it's kind of like, I feel like it's almost like, I kind of sometimes see this as being sort of like an art teacher, or like in a, what's the word? Like a gallery kind of thing. Like your art or your work is actually good enough to be in a gallery. Like it's that kind of stage, and it's kind of like you're actually much further along than you thought you were. It was reminding me of this past reading that I did like a year ago. It was a Virgo reading about like you're actually much further along than you thought you were, Virgo. That's how it's coming through, but it's like the first two cards here starting off with the like sort of like the dissatisfaction, or like the looking at the minor details that nobody else is going to notice but you, that kind of thing. It's kind of like letting that go, like letting go of the sort of like focusing on the details that literally no one else is going to notice but you. Which is, I'm not saying that to be sort of like critical or telling you that you're doing something wrong or anything like that. I think Virgo energy is so, always wanting to do a good job on things, or like wanting to make sure that things happen properly or are done correctly, which is a very admirable trait. And I feel like it's kind of just like wanting you, Virgo, to focus on like, look at how far you've come, look at what you've accomplished, like to like shift your focus from sort of like the details into more of the bigger picture, like the final product kind of energy, that kind of thing. Anyways, because you're moving into something new. That's the point. You're moving into something new. I actually feel like you may actually be taking like a different role, is kind of how it's coming through, because what I'm seeing here, you have here the Six of Voices. So this talks about moving forward with something, like moving forward. Usually that this card talks to me about like passing over any potential obstacles with a lot of grace and ease as well. So it's like if there are any potential obstacles, I feel like you are going to move over them very easily, is how that's coming through. And what you're stepping into, what's coming out next, you have here is a collective of pixies, and here the mice, which says discord among friends or family. So this is a group of some sort that you will be going, like meeting, or whatever this is. It's like, this is a group, that a collective energy that you will be stepping into, is how it's coming through. But there's discord within the group. This collective of pixies card talks about doing some sort of job. Like it's like a job that needs to be done. I feel like you, perhaps Virgo, are the person to do it, is how that's coming through. You're the person for the job, Virgo. Whatever this is, it feels like, because you have perhaps an eye for detail, or you have like this master maker quality about you, where I feel like there's discord within this group for whatever reason. And again, it's something where it's like, I feel like it's not necessarily the discord energy is not not a fun, it's not a fun one, but somebody has to do it. That's sort of how it's coming through. I feel like that's you, Virgo. I feel like you're taking on some sort of responsibility with like a graceful acceptance, is kind of how that's coming through, because there's something here about like you're the person for the job, Virgo. You're the person for the job. What's coming out underneath this, like what the energy of the pixies is, you have here the 4 of materials, the 3 of swords, and the 5 of materials. So I'm seeing this as being sort of like, first of all, the 4 of materials, because I sometimes see the 4 of materials as being sort of like wanting to be at the queen or the king stage of materials, but they don't have enough resources in some way. So I'm kind of actually seeing this as being like perhaps students or just like somebody that you're going to be helping, where it's like they're trying to learn the craft that you have mastered, or that you're at sort of a mastery phase, right? Like they have perhaps the starting materials, but perhaps they don't have the know-how or something like that. Or there's some sort of discordant energy in this group that's coming out here with the 3 of voices and the 5 of materials, right? So this 3 of materials talks to me about like fear of the unknown. And this 5 of materials talks about like having to move through a difficult period of lack. So whatever that is for you, I actually feel like you're going to be somehow teaching a group in whatever that is, in whatever this is for, like however this applies to you. Okay. The last card out you have here is the Singer of the Chalice. And the Love card coming out underneath that. So the Singer of the Chalice, this is like the Ace of Cups energy in this deck, where it's just like all of this love, all of this sort of overflowing energy of like positivity and trust and patience and joy, bliss, all of this like beautiful energy that I feel like is coming from you. Like it's kind of like you're going to be like a love beacon, it sounds, coming through for this group or whatever it is, because it's kind of like it may not even be about the craft itself, right? Like it might not even be about the actual thing that you're doing itself. It may just be more of like building confidence or being supportive, or like, because it's usually not about like the actual thing. Like it's not about like knitting, for example, or it's not about painting. It's not about like the actual craft or skill or work that's being done. It's about the feeling, like the feeling of confidence or the feeling of being able to do it, or having an optimistic attitude, or being able to learn from your mistakes in a way that is uplifting instead of negative, right? Or just like whatever that is. I feel like that's actually something that you're going to be teaching the group. So it's not necessarily about like whatever it is that they're doing, right? It's not about knitting. It's not about it's not about painting. It's about the confidence or the belief in oneself, or all of this energy, the trust, the joy, the creativity, the love, the hope, even. Because the last 2 cards out you have here are the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Voices, and the Star card. So you have here the Star twice, right? Guaranteed success, and sort of like wishes being granted, that kind of thing. But I feel like there's sort of like here with the Queen of Swords, sometimes I see this Queen of Swords because there's so many crows around her, right? Like having to sort out mental chatter, right? Like, or having to like clarify something. I feel like there's like that kind of energy, like having to clear out any sort of perhaps discordant thinking or like anxieties or anything that's unclear, right? I feel like, so maybe if you are currently in this position, Virgo, of like experiencing something where it's like you're feeling muddled or unclear, maybe more than usual, or like you're looking back at your old things and feeling dissatisfied or like discontent, it's almost like it's giving you the preview about what it is that you're going to be stepping into next, because it's kind of like you have to figure out what it is that you're feeling before you can step into the next thing, so that you can teach them what it is that you've learned, if that makes sense. So it's like I feel like if you are currently experiencing any sort of like muddled, unclear thinking, it's like pay attention to that, because you may be experiencing something about like what you're about to step into. There's somebody there who's feeling exactly what it is that you're feeling right now. And it's kind of like perhaps you're going to be learning from each other, or that you're going to be teaching them what it is that you learned. Perhaps they'll also teach you about something that they learned, because it is looking to me like whatever it is, you're ending here with the Star. Guaranteed success. And like this sort of like this card also like is like hope and vision. I feel like there's like there's so much hope as well. I feel like maybe you're also going to be helping somebody or something like that with hope, because it's kind of looking like this here with the Four of Pentacles. I'm seeing that as being sort of the shift. There's perhaps somebody who's in a Four of Pentacles energy who's going to be shifting into more of like the Star mindset. Perhaps you're just showing them a better way of doing something, or a more successful way of doing something. Whatever that is for you. I feel like you, Virgo, have that already. It's just kind of like there's something here about like maybe you're feeling unclear, or you're letting something go. And in the letting go, there's sort of like this energy of like not thinking clearly, because there's like perhaps things being stirred up, but I feel like that will be moving into clarity soon for you. So I'm going to leave it there, Virgo. If this resonated with you, please like, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. It helps so much. Thank you for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.